So the Houston Rockets are not good, and they were not good like a couple weeks ago. But I wasn't too freaked out because I figured, James Harden had some injuries, Chris Paul got suspended, whatever, they'll figure it out. Well, we are now 25 games into the year for them. They are 11-14. Their defense sucks, their rebounding sucks, their offense is still really good, but it's worse than it was last year. And they have lost 3 in a row, as well as 7 of their last 9, so what's going on here? Can this be turned around? Well, as far as why they are not good right now, number one, you got to look at Chris Paul, because CP3, I think what's happening to him is the fact that he's never totally been in the best of shape, or at least for the last 4 or 5 years, is finally catching up with him at the age of 33. And I picture that he will probably get better as the year goes along, and he can beat more guys off the bounce, and his defense will just be better, and he'll be the Chris Paul that we all know, but certainly isn't that at the moment, and that's a big problem because with how much responsibility James Harden and Chris Paul have for this Rockets team, if those two are not razor sharp, then there's going to be problems. The next thing that they have going for them is, of course, the losses of Trevor Ariza and Luka Mbamute, and then the guys that they have used to replace those two in terms of James Ennis, who's not bad, but he's not Ariza. We know how Melo went. Gerald Green is just not that good. He's the type of guy where you play him once or twice a week at the most. If you play him consistently, then this is what happens. Gary Clark has at least been a body, but he's not really doing much offensively for you. And then between MCW and whoever the hell else, they just need another wing who can play defense and make threes, right? There's guys out there between Kent Bazemore, Damari Carroll. Those are the two I can think of off the top of my head. Courtney Lee's out there as well. Should also be said, Eric Gordon has just been missing a lot of shots, which is, of course, not good. The other problem that I think they have going for them is teams are just getting a little better at dealing with what the Rockets have going on, okay? They're getting a little better at attacking switches. I think they're attacking James Harden a little bit more, and not in the normal sense of going at him in the low post, because James Harden's actually a really good low post defender, but he's not a good ISO defender, help defender, any of that stuff. So teams are finding more ways to attack him, combined with CP3 and then these other wings not being as good as what they had last year. And yeah, before you know it, you're terrible defensively. Now, they are also doing this thing where they'll get the center switched onto a perimeter player to get him out of the paint, and then that allows other teams to grab more rebounds, more offensive rebounds against them, as the Rockets' defensive rebound percentage this season is second worst in the league, whereas last year it was the fourth best one. I think some of that also is that Ariza and Mbamute were better rebounders than all these new guys. James Ennis doesn't grab rebounds, Gerald Green doesn't grab rebounds. PJ Tucker does, but he can only do so much. Also, there's a chance PJ Tucker's legs are going to fall off at some point because they are asking him to do a lot. He's also playing way more minutes. Last year, PJ Tucker played 28 minutes a game. This year, he's up to 35. And given that he's already a guy who's a little on the heavier side, I know a lot of it is muscle, but the dude is clearly not shredded, then that could lead to him getting tired, which if he gets tired and he's not good for you, then you could be really having a tough time, because he is right now not only this team's best role player and their best defender, because I think Capella's been 4% worse this year, but Tucker has also been the only non-star who's just pretty much doing his thing, right? Everybody's been kind of a disappointment besides him and James Harden, basically. And I will get to James Harden in a moment, but if we could talk about how you fix some of this, some of it is probably not switching all the time. Now, that's a little scary because this team was great at switching last season, on top of the fact that if you ask James Harden to actually defend, and if you ask Capella to back up on the screen, and then you have these perimeter players fight around screens and get back to their ball handler, not too much has happened this season to prove that they can do that, but we know that the switching thing as of right now is not going well, so these are problems. Now, simply grabbing more rebounds could help, and just having a concerned effort through all of these wings who are not natural rebounders and just telling them, hey, go to the freaking boards, especially when Capella is defending a perimeter player, that could help out as well. But it's safe to say the personnel is just simply not as good, right? So as a result, I mean, I don't know if it's possible for this team to get to, where were they last year? 6th in defense? I don't know if that's going to happen this year, but if they can pull it all together to get to like 12th, and then we assume the offense is just going to figure itself out a little bit more, then I think that's about all you can ask for. And that can still lead you to being probably the second best team in the West. So there is that for you. They need one decent wing, really bad, who can make some shots and play some defense and have a pulse as a rebounder. The other thing to think about here is, say if they weren't going to go for that, but they were going to go for like another, say if they were going to go for some sort of a big move, right? The one dude being available is Kevin Love. Would that actually help them? I don't know. I mean, the defense, going from PJ Tucker to Kevin Love would not be good defensively. But this team is so bad on the boards right now, maybe getting Kevin Love would actually help you on defense, because at least you wouldn't be coughing up offensive rebounds to the other team. I don't know. I've seen it floated out there. I guess I would at least give my 2 cents, which is, I lean towards no. Anyway, now it's time to talk about James Harden. So, Harden has been amazing offensively this season, okay? 30 points, 8 assists, turnovers are a little up, whatever, I don't care, because his usage rate is still massive, and it's fine, okay? And James Harden is still like the, 6th, 7th, maybe 5th best player in the league, something like that. All that being said, if there is ever a time for James Harden to stop with his go-with-the-flow mentality and kind of get in guys' faces and give more of a crap defensively because he's gotten back to like bad James Harden on defense, now is the time to do it, man, okay? Part of the reason they got Chris Paul, besides just giving this team a second ball handler and giving them a real chance at the Warriors, is that they needed someone who can be a bit of a hard ass and yell at guys and get them motivated and speak up over the coach if need be, and not just be that aloof, laid-back guy, which is something that teammates have criticized Harden for in the past. So, look, you're down 3 games right now. You are the 14th seed in the West, which granted is nowhere near as bad if you were the 14th seed in the East. But, does James Harden have that in him? Because if he does, it's got to come out right now. And one thing that is a bit concerning is the amount of losses that the Rockets have had by at least 10 points when James Harden is playing. Because, I get it. The team's got problems. You're going to lose some games. But you would think that with how good James Harden is, he would be able to make some of these games not disasters. Like losing by 19 to the Pelicans on opening nights. They lost by 27 to the Jazz with no Rudy Gobert. I mean, they lost by 12 to the T-Wolves. There was an 18-point loss to the Thunder where James Harden played. I'm usually not one to blame the star player because I think 9 times out of 10 that argument is stupid because it's a team game. But I do think there is a little bit of hey, James, can you wake up a little bit more? You're going to get your numbers, we get it, but the general attitude of the team and all that stuff it could be better. And I think James Harden deserves some criticism for that happening. Now, does Mike D'Antoni also deserve some criticism for that? Yeah, sure. But, when you are one of the 6 or 7 best players in the league, you sometimes got to be a bit more of a leader. Okay, that's pretty much my take on Houston. They're going to make a move. It could be tomorrow, for all I know. I'm sure Daryl Morey's got a bunch of players on a whiteboard or an iPad or whatever. As far as where they're going to end up this season, I mean, I don't think they've earned the benefit of the doubt for them just figuring it out to get into the second best team in the West. But I could picture by the 60th game of the year, they'll still be pretty frightening. and they'll be one of those teams you don't really want to play in the playoffs. So that still counts, right?